You're now watching The Wash. Daily. Zentrela, a company out of Canada, has made a new product called the cognalyzer. What the cognalyzer does is it's a little device that sits in your head. It reads and analyzes your brainwaves and will determine whether you're on the effect of any particular compound without actually testing for the compound. The idea is that the product will be able to tell if you're high without actually having to test your blood or your hair or a sample to see if they can find a compound within a person's body. Now, this is a big deal because the government of Ontario has invested about $1 million in the project and is looking to be able to tell whether people are high or not without testing for cannabis or heroin or alcohol or Molly. So for cannabis users, it's a bit more fair than the current situation, which says if you have cannabis in your system for the past 30 days, that you're always high. While in one way, people have an objection to a privacy aspect, it might be a better test ultimately to prove somebody isn't on cannabis when they weren't. Mackey didn't expect to be at the center of controversy when he gave his dog CBD up there in Alaska. The idarod runner and cancer survivor believes heavily in CBD and cannabis treatments and feels his dogs would recover quicker and do ultimately better in the race if he were given them CBD. So he did. One of the officials of the event, Stuart Nelson, said he didn't want CBD given to the dogs. He politely asked Maggie not to give his dog CBD. Well, Maggie politely said he would give the dog CBD and that he wouldn't pay attention to any requests to not give the dog CBD. Many veterinarians are on the fence to whether or not they should admit that CBD is good for dogs because veterinarians make a lot of money prescribing things that aren't CBD to dogs. New Jersey's beginning their legalization campaign. The state of New Jersey has finally got rid of Chris Christie and they have a new mayor. New Jersey's beginning their legalization campaign. Phil Murphy, the new governor, promised legalization of cannabis as part of his platform. And he really was trying to get cannabis legalized in New Jersey, but he doesn't seem to have the votes for it. So there's a coalition forming, which includes a number of different groups in New Jersey. They're putting together a heavily concerted campaign to increase the public's perception around cannabis. A lot of people are very stigmatized and don't understand that cannabis isn't a bad thing because we've been told that cannabis is a bad thing for so many years by the people we've been told to trust. Turns out they didn't have our best interests in mind. In fact, they were running cover for the pharmaceutical industry who seeks to get every single person in the country on pharmaceuticals. And we're seeing that people who have access to medical cannabis don't get on pharmaceuticals. So, if you understand how business works, the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want people on cannabis. Now, they're behind a lot of the effort to reduce states' availability of recreational cannabis, home growing, and that kind of thing. In fact, the cannabis companies a lot of times are funded by big agri and lobby for more regulated cannabis. The more regulation we have, the only people who can participate are the well-funded giant behemoths, which are usually connected to industries like pharmaceuticals or other giant industries. You've been watching The Wash Daily.